Hey guys, welcome to the video. I am Michael. I'm one of the owners at salefreaks.com. I also have 5+ years experience dropshipping on eBay using the SaleFreaks platform. And my esteemed guest here is...
Hi guys, I'm Wilf, new to dropshipping, having this little ride along session with Michael here. We're going to go through some advice, insight from Michael's experience here to try and get me up and running with some good sales.
For sure. And on SaleFreaks, just to point out, we have a 14-day free trial. There's also a 100% free dropshipping course. The link for the course is at the top of salefreaks.com. And the link for the trial is just here on the main page. We'll also put the link, both those links in the description, and also the SaleFreaks Instagram page and YouTube page that you can follow. Well, they would have already had the YouTube link if you're watching this video, so don't forget about that. But yeah, let's get into the video. We're going to go through a few things with regards to with eBay and also with how we're getting on in terms of Wilf's account. So take it away, Wilf.
Cool,
How are we
let's
getting
do it.
on?
Yeah, all good. Um, Conveniently, another one of the low days to show off to everyone, uh, which is always lovely. But recently we've been having some pretty mental days, £34 days, £27 days. So definitely seen an uptick since we did the promoted listings. Yeah, it's been pretty huge, pretty noticeable
All
change.
right. Cool. Let's have a look at your SaleFreaks dashboard. Let's see where we're at.
Ta-da! Lovely, £3 today. But if you average up the last 7 days, it's been around £10 a day. That's the kind of average, and what is it? It's 2 o'clock now, so we've got time.
Yeah, as we always say, not every day is going to be absolutely amazing. You've now got about 988 items listed on your store. 6 transactions today, not too bad. But if we zoom out, like you say, you've got £71 in a week, and you're still sitting pretty nice at £170 over the 30-day mark, which is really really good. And you can see the average profit per order is slightly lower today than what the average is.
hmm
So you've probably sold a few lower priced items. It's
If you
not
have a look
resulted.
here, £5,
Yeah.
£5, £9, £9. Nothing too crazy.
So all we're really doing is building up traction on this store anyway,
Yeah.
and things will start to pick up. We weren't promoting a lot of our listings until we started promoting those last week, so we should see a bit more progress. We're now kind of in I don't know what I would call it, but we're in that sort of middle of the month period now, where middle towards the end of the month, where we're a long way away from our previous payday and getting closer to
Yeah.
most people's regular payday at the end of the month. And hopefully by the time the end of the month comes, we'll start to see that busier period. But the main thing is we're still listing consistently on our store, um, and doing all the right things. So let's have a look at the eBay overview page.
Here we go. So this is what we just saw before we started recording here. We've got a little uh,
Okay, so we've got a warning message. Okay,
clerical.
what's this in relation to then? This could be a number of things really. But you've mentioned to me just before the call that you had recently changed your address, just updated the address on the eBay
Yep, just
account,
updated the
right?
address on the eBay account, which is what I suspect is causing this little issue.
Okay, cool. So just go and click the update account details button. Let's have a little look and see what eBay are after. It's usually something fairly straightforward and just part of the procedure. Okay, so they just want you to update your identity information. So generally speaking, when you make a change on the account, they're just going to ask you to, provide some sort of proof that that is you making the change. And all you need to do there is update all the details and then upload your ID, which is your current driver's license, passport, or government issued ID. Click on save. Job done. Couple of days. This message will disappear and everything will be good to go, pretty much. So we'll not do that now, obviously, but
Cool.
if anyone does ever see this message, then that's pretty much all you have to do. And sometimes eBay will just do a random one of these checks once an account has sold past a certain limit, especially if it's a new account that's only been open, say, within the last 6 months, and sometimes they'll do it when the account makes £500 worth of sales or £1,000 worth of sales. They'll just do this check for KYC, which is know your customer regulations, and it's really nothing to worry about at all. Oh, it's actually up in there, KYC remedy web at ebay.co.uk. You miss nothing, Wilf, do you? You miss
Nah,
nothing.
nah. Especially with URLs like we saw the other week.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, let's take a look at the sales graph, and we'll just take a look back as well on this reach more buyers on social media thing as well. This is something that started popping up on eBay accounts recently, but
Oh yeah.
let's have a look at the sales first of all. We can see obviously sales have been fairly steady. Last week when we done the promoted listings, we definitely seen a bit of an upturn. After the week, Sunday, Monday, it's kind of gone back to a normal level, but those normal levels are still higher
They're
than your
looking a little bit
previous
higher,
normal level.
definitely. Like
Yeah, yeah,
these
yeah.
these three versus like some of these three, definitely a lot better.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. Today's a bit of a lower day, and obviously, not every day is going to be the same. You will get it to that point where you'll start to see a bit more consistency. What I like to see and what you should really be looking for is you see the way there's kind of like a split between like a grey and a white area on the chart.
Yeah.
So yours is like between 0 and 100, and then the next one up is 200. I feel what consistency really looks like is when you start filling that bottom part almost every single day, and then everything that dips into the
Yeah,
white
yeah.
is like a super good day. But what you'll find is on a 30-day period, your your chart may have looked more like 0 to 50, and then 50 to 100,
Sure.
and now you're in the other element of that. So the next 30 days, you should find, especially if they continue like they are at the minute. And I mean, today, at the time of recording, we've still got a lot of time left today. You could still end up with £100 day today very, very easily.
Yeah.
And you could still end up with that sort of £10 profit day that you've been averaging out over the last week or so.
Traffic's
And
looking a
again,
lot better.
traffic's looking better, 200+%. Uh, Listed impressions, 198% listing page views. That is the main thing, realistically. More eyeballs on your listings can only mean, potentially more sales on the listings as well. Um, so for sure, yeah, really, really good. I guess with 1,000 active listings, you would expect probably a bit more sales revenue right now. But a lot of these listings are still going to be fairly new.
Yeah.
We have been trying them out at sort of higher profit margins as well, and we weren't promoting all those listings
Yeah.
until last week. So there's still a bit of work to do. Um, Wilford also, if I remember correctly, kind of messed around with your margins a little bit, moved them up, moved them down, and sometimes that can have a bit of a not a negative effect, but sometimes it could just take a while for things to stabilize again
Yeah.
and start to push up, which we can definitely see in the last sort of week there. We've got those two high, basically record breaking days, and then even the 3 days that followed are all higher than 99% of the previous, 2 weeks or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's absolutely perfect. Wilf, you had your first return this week, I believe.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What's happened with it? What did you do with it? What's the story?
Bit of a learning experience. So as we saw just earlier with this issue here, I've just changed my address. It was actually earlier on today. And now there is a reason for why I changed my address. So the return was automatically processed, which is something that I'm sure you can shed some light on in a minute. And I think the buyer, to my knowledge, got my previous address and shipped it there, which was, could be an issue. It was all solved now. I went to Amazon and reported the issue that the customer had, and Amazon said, cool, full refund, no return necessary, basically. The little trick there is if you go on the live chat with them, you get that outcome much more than if you go through their normal returns procedure, because they will just start trying to print you a postage
Yeah.
label, and go through that. If you go on live chat, 9 times out of 10 they just straight up refund it. So that wasn't an issue. So I didn't get the product back myself, but it didn't end up causing me an issue. Once I get all this restrictions sorted out, we should be in a better place returns wise.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, we did speak about the power of the customer service on Amazon when it
Yeah.
comes to the eBay drop shipping. You have that reassurance that those guys, are all over customer service. So a lot of people have that, that view of, oh, what happens if my customer on eBay has this experience? Well, you're just the middleman. You just relay that information back to Amazon and see what outcome you get. Now, obviously, your situation involves you to kind of think on your feet. I don't have the return. I might not be able to access the return. It's went to a wrong address. This can happen for a number of reasons. Let's say for me, um, if I have like a friends or family's account or something like that, I'm not going to change all the addresses to match mine. I'm going to have them. I'm going to manage their store at their address. So it's an inconvenience. At at worst, I might have to go to that person's house and pick up the return, or let's say it's my parents' house or whatever else, or just like you've done, it's an old address. You may not be able to access it. Some people move halfway across the country. It's not just as simple as going and getting it. So you've had to think on your feet. You've took the problem to Amazon, and Amazon have said no need to return it, full refund. Therefore, you can go back to your customer, give them a full refund, um, that's the job done.
Yep.
There's also some scenarios. We talked about this a bit the last time when we were talking about, Amazon have the power to basically authorize and refund if, customer satisfaction isn't there. And in some cases, you'll get a customer that'll be very reluctant to kind of take the time to start returning an item.
Mm.
And in most cases, you can tell them, look, it's eBay policy, you must return the item. Um, let's say it's quite a large electronic item or something like that. But if it was something cheap, let me try and think of an example. So let's say someone received a bottle of liquid, let's say it was shampoo or something like that, and they got the item and it was split open and it was, the contents had leaked all inside the box. They sent you a photograph of this and say, look, it's pretty much unusable. You've got to use your head in that situation and say, do you want to put that customer through the hassle of going boxing that up, rather than just putting it in the bin? Because you can go back to Amazon with that problem and say, listen, this isn't worth returning. You're not going to be able to do anything with it.
Yeah.
You'd be better just giving me a refund. And to be honest, I don't have the time to start returning, a broken X, Y, or Z. And 9 times out of 10, they will give you the refund. And the customer has a much nicer experience. Or what you can do in that situation is you can say to Amazon, please send me a replacement. The buyer will get the replacement. They'll not have to deal with the return. And the buyer's happy. The buyer's got their product that they paid for. You're not out of pocket. Job's done,
Yep.
basically. So there's a lot of you've got to use your head sometimes. You've got to think on your feet. You've got to put yourself in the customer's shoes. How would I like to be treated? I personally, whilst some returns I see that are 100% necessary, if I buy a t-shirt or a jacket and it comes, it's not the right size, it doesn't fit. Of course, I'm not just going to say, well, I'm just going to keep the item, I want a refund. No business in their right mind is going to let that happen. But in certain cases, like I've just mentioned, the better thing for the customer is to not put them through the hassle of doing that when you don't need to.
Yeah.
So the other thing you mentioned was the return was automatically accepted. So
That's right.
what do you mean by that? So obviously, if there's people watching, they maybe don't understand exactly what has been meant by that. But how did that scenario play out for you?
So I checked my email and it basically said a customer is returning their item, wait for it to arrive, and then grant them the refund. Basically, that was that was my first knowledge of it.
Okay, so what happens in that case is if it's for a reason like, well, it can be for whatever reason in this scenario. And what'll actually happen is if you have returns accepted on your business policies, which you have to have, the buyer can open a return, and instead of waiting for you, the buyer just can download a downloading a return label from eBay to the return address that you have on file, which was the wrong address, obviously. And they also charge you for this facility, so they'll charge you like £3 for return. So you will have lost money on that return because of the return label. They'll just add that onto your invoice. Now, what you can do is you can basically intervene on all these returns, so they won't be automatically accepted. So if you go into top left hand corner and into your account settings, and then put my knowledge to the test here, you know, when you do this every day for a while, and then so it's in selling preferences, I believe, down at the bottom left, and
Return
then
preferences.
that's the very one, yeah. Now, just to run through this, you can make a basic return rule, okay? I don't. This basically means you can authorize an automatic refund. This is madness. This is eBay's favor, buyer's favor. If you do accept a return, you always want to make sure the return comes back to you, you know, if that's the outcome that you want before you refund the buyer, unless it's a situation like I said before where Amazon have refunded you, you can go ahead and refund the buyer. But you want to be in control of this. You don't want to set up any automatic rules, and you would just lose track of everything. So
Yep.
scroll right to the bottom, and you can tick this box that says RMA number, which is give me the option to add an RMA number, which is a return authorization number, to each return label. So what this basically does, instead of the email coming through to you to say we've accepted this return and when you receive the item refund the buyer, you'll get an email, something to the effect that will say your buyer has opened a return case. Please basically go into the case and provide the buyer with the details they need to return the label. So in this situation, then every return has to be dealt with. Now, I believe, well, if you don't have any live returns on your account,
No, not at the moment.
okay, so we can't really show you. By the way, there's no button to save here. Once you've clicked it, it's on, and that's it. So you can just go back out. Um, and basically, this allows you to intervene. So when that return case gets opened, you would then go into the return case via the link on the email or the message, and then basically give them the return label. And on Amazon, you can get the option to either get a QR code or you can send them a return label. So I wonder, could you just go into your, can you access your Amazon account here and just go into a random order as if we were doing like a fake return on the order, just for the purposes of science?
Let's do this one.
Yeah, you'll have to do the one that's arrived anyway, so you need to
Okay.
probably scroll down a little bit.
This one.
Yeah, just, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and you'll see on the right hand side, you can see return items. Okay.
So,
Regardless of this response, okay, you just put the bottom one, incompatible and not useful for intended purpose. This will always generate a free label. Anything else they might want to try and charge you or do some other stuff. In the comments, I just type NA, not applicable, or something like that. You know, whatever gets you through the fastest. It doesn't really matter. And then just click and continue. Okay, so you can have the choice. You can refund the balance or you can refund the card. Now, this is really doesn't really matter. It depends what you want. If you're using MasterCard or your debit card to process the orders, I would just have it refunded back to the MasterCard. It's pretty easy and you can track it on your, you know, on your statement. And then again, just click on continue. Obviously, it's in favor of Amazon to get it onto the Amazon account because then they know you have to spend it again.
yep.
So they're getting your money back no matter what.
Yeah.
And then it just gives you the option. So for this one, you've got an every drop off, which is basically you take it to your local every place. That's going to inconvenience the buyer. And then you've got Royal Mail pickup, printer, and box required. So this is a weird one actually. Usually it gives you the option for other and Royal Mail label, but click on the Royal Mail pickup. That's weird. So you can have it collected. Normally, it gives you the option for something else. It just shows you how often I'm doing these. I have a virtual assistant doing mine. I've
Right.
not seen the option to collect it, but what you can do is you can choose a collection. Then for the customer, you can ask them, "We're going to collect the item from you. Basically, have it ready. You need to print out this label that they're going to give you, and that's it. Simple as that."
Mm-hmm.
With the every drop off, you can either print out the label and take it to the every drop off point, which is usually like a local shop, whether it be like a Centra or a Spar or whatever it may be. And then you have a drop off and no box or label. That's one's like a QR code that they take it.
Yeah.
And then with some returns, there's various other options like QR code, and you just take the box and the QR code to the post office, for example. They'll scan the QR code and they will print off the label and take the box off you, give you a receipt, and then you can add the tracking into eBay on that one. So it's fairly straightforward. Once you've done all that, you can just click confirm your return. But we won't do that just in the event that, hopefully not, but by chance you need to do a return label on this, that we haven't kind of messed it up. So that it's as simple as that. You just go back to your customer, you upload it on the return case, and the customer will be able to do the rest.
Cool.
Fairly
Cool.
straightforward.
Cool. And then obviously, if we wanted for any reason to use that live chat feature, I think in customer service there should be like a contact us. I think it's something else, and you can just basically go into the live chat with just saying I want to do this. Basically, tell the customer service agent the issue, and then nine
Yeah.
times out of 10 they'll just refund it.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe you can select the order that you're talking about. It gives you the option, are you
Yeah.
talking about this order? You can drop down, you can select
Mm-hmm.
the actual order. So super easy to do a return. And again, it's a lot of people get put off by that. Oh, what happens if they need to return an item? But I can not reassure you enough that it is super easy.
Mm-hmm.
It is, no matter what website, no matter what e-commerce business that you run, returns is just a normal thing. Now, what I will say is, as a drop shipper, just as a bit of a hint, I tend to stay away from the likes of clothes and shoes and things like that, which do tend to have a higher return rate online just because of sizing and
Mm.
things like that. You do tend to get more of them. So I tend to stay away from things where people are buying it and then trying it on, not quite the right fit, send it back. Whereas sort of your basic average products, unless it's not working or there's an actual issue, there's really not much of a reason to return that product.
Yeah.
But even at that, you'll still, it's normal. You'll get returns. You get people that change their mind, buyer's remorse, whatever. It's just part of the business, but you'll never be out of pocket for it because, again, you'd either get your money back from Amazon, refund your customer, and eBay will refund all your final value fees as well. So a lot of people think, well, I've already paid all the eBay fees, so surely I'm going to be out of pocket with the eBay fees, when actually they return that percentage back as a credit onto your account. So
Yeah.
really straightforward. Yeah, I think we'll wrap that video up there, mate. We'll catch you on the next video, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Hopefully you will find some value in this. Once again, if you are not dropshipping on eBay already and you maybe have some more questions on that or intrigued by it, feel free to reach out, via the comments or via Instagram page or via our Sale Freaks Facebook group. There are, numerous people that will be able to respond to, including ourselves. So don't be afraid to reach out if you have any more questions.
All of the links in the description for all of that stuff, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Thanks again. Catch you on the next one, guys.
Cheers.